it will make it comfortable for both Iran as well as Brusco. Faramis is open, like I said. This could be the first pick. Indeed, it will be RRQ Hoshi. Do they go for Lilia already this time? CC is open, but I think they go Lilia. Actually, Minotaur. There's something in me that says that maybe the Minotaur is going to be first face picked here by RRQ Hoshi.
100% CC first pick for RRQ Hoshi. Yeah. And then I do agree with you for those additional picks as they go back in. Oh, whoa, the Minotaur. Okay, but
still got it.
Diggy's still on the table. So do they go in for more of a like frontline jungler for the side of APBREN and pull out the Diggy to kind of counteract that CC? Or are they not even going to go the Diggy at all, considering there is a Fredrin on the table, which could definitely overwhelm the time journey?
Yeah, APBREN might not really consider that. Maybe they'll be happy about the Faramis. Of course, it will be considered, but maybe in the latter portions of the game, for their priority should be maybe a burst time or maybe a Brody. In fact, for APBREN, very quickly go for the Brody this time so that they secure that decent versus the Fredrin and the Minotaur all together. Then I'm thinking Arlet actually for APBREN because that's usually what they pick up against this Fredrin. There it is, the Brody.
That's why you're the $1 million caster right there. Look at that, $1 million prediction over there. Brody does get slotted up. I think it's a great answer, especially against a heavy frontline composition. I mean, teams that like to dive in, going back to the back line onto marksman. Brody's one of the best pickups for that, right? He has the corrosion strike to be able to get that stun, get back, has a flicker to top that off as well to expand the distance and also close the distance if he wants to go in for the kill with the torn apart memories. Now, Flat TZ, not wasting any time for the team. You know, they are going to go ahead and decide who their jungler is going to be. And that is going to be the Boxia. Now, we've been seeing the Boxia picked up today. It's definitely been executing pretty well, rotating around, able to get to the positions necessary to deal the damage. We saw RRQ Hoshi in the first game pick up a die route to respond to it, but now, hey, they can't really pick up the die. I mean, I guess they could, but it would make it a little bit troublesome, especially as a Brody on the table who really wants those frontline competitions to be slotted up. So that will be a little bit of the easier time for the Boxia rotating around.
To be the pickup for RRQ Hoshi. I would have said Claude, but then again, this totally makes a lot of sense. It's an AoE. There's a lot of AoE that you can get out of the game. Although it will take a lot of time, it's definitely okay and advisable to go for a late game hero now for RRQ Hoshi, because if you look at their two heroes, it allows for those late game types of heroes, like the Nathan that really likes to farm a lot. You have the Minotaur as well as the Fredrin to protect that Nathan. They might even couple this up with another sustain kind of hero, or maybe somewhere that has Lilia that can actually sustain herself so that he can output the damage. And now, actually, I think APBREN might look to ban that hero, that Lilia, and obviously the Nana, heroes that allow for the Nathan to be able to farm.
That's honestly exactly what I was going to say, right? The Nana or the Lilia is definitely something RRQ Hoshi could profit off of, and a great read from APBREN to be able to counteract that. Now, that will put RRQ Hoshi in a little bit of a bind on who they go in for their mage. Now, Valentina looks to still be on the table. They could pick that up. I mean, it'd be great against the Faramis to provide the Nether Realm for the side of RRQ Hoshi. I mean, they have a little bit of sustainability from Bruce on the Minotaur, but it would be a really good pickup, especially to give them even more heals on these 5v5 engagements up against a hero like Brody, right? He pops that torn apart memories, instantly go in for that Nether Realm to keep the team alive. No worries about it. You've been talking about the Nathan sneaking up into the scene as well today, and now we get to see a showcasing of exactly how well it will perform up against APBREN. But so far, we got a pretty solid draft on our hands.
Yeah, it's Lilia banned out by APBREN as expected. But you're right, I think the Valentina could be a valid pickup here for RRQ Hoshi. However, there's that option of the Aurora, which really couples up well with the Minotaur. Maybe the next best choice is the Vexana. These two heroes that can that actually replaced Farsa and Eve, that really puts themselves just way back into the fights and just output the damage. That makes a lot of sense versus the Faramis, so that you can trickle down the extra HP from the ultimate. So that could be a valid option here for RRQ Hoshi. Might reserve their Expedite for last, or maybe they picked it up. Oh, there it is, the Vexana. I think maybe RRQ Hoshi will close it up with a Lapu Lapu.
A Lapu Lapu. You know what I'd be interested to see? the Benedetta slide through that they've been kind of dominating so well on.
That's also true.
Especially with Banana. And we talked about it walking in the early phase of the draft. And I mean, he's performed really well on it. It could be a possible pickup, especially since CC was not able to be slotted. It was currently banned out. And that's one of the few XP laners that we've been kind of seeing him run so far. We did see the Ruby banned out as well, which could have been a great answer, either flex to the XP lane or the roam position. So I would say, yeah, Benedetta could be a very good pickup for the side of RRQ Hoshi, but in terms of APBREN, they're looking pretty solid with their draft. They have sustainability. They have great front line from the Boxia and already some good damage from the Brody. And there goes the Grok that we've seen already previously in the quarterfinals.
I would have said that maybe they snatched the Lapu-Lapu, and indeed they did that, because that means that RRQ Hoshi will not have the perfect hero to counter the Fire Mist as well as Brody. So yeah, I think they're left with one option, which is the Benedetta now for RRQ Hoshi. Apart from that, the choice will be Yuzhong, which is not the most ideal scenario. But if they want, they can still go for, like, I think they're left with Benedetta because you have AoE damage, match up against the Lapu-Lapu. Well, maybe the craziest hero that they can get is probably Yuzhong, although that is like a very underwhelming hero to go up against APBREN. And there's the Benedetta, a specialty for RRQ Hoshi. Great closeout. I think this is a relatively even draft, but I do like that, like the Nathan thing coming out from RRQ Hoshi, because it makes a lot of sense with the heroes that are around it. You have the Vexana to output the damage when the Minotaur goes for the initiation. You have Frederick to frontline for the team, and with this kind of lineup, they have a way to front to back. At the same time, there's always that option to go for the split with Banana. So it's a really good mix for both teams.
Yeah, and with Skylar run the Nathan, it's definitely going to be a little bit different of a game than what we've seen on the Laylas. We are now stepping into the virtual arena. APBREN out from the Philippines, looking stronger than ever. Currently at match point up against RRQ Hoshi out from Indonesia. Who will be able to prevail in that amazing draft? Like we said, pretty even on the scoreboard, but time will tell on who will be our victor for game number 2.
It's going to be a really good matchup. And I do hope that we get to a game number 3. Just because of how good the two coaches are drafting. I mean, just for game number 2, that's what I can say. It makes for an interesting draft, and I kind of want to see more. But at the same time, obviously, APBREN would want to close this out 2-0. The way that they drafted this is to win the lanes, right? So you have the Lapu-Lapu, which is a hero that rarely loses lane. Really good in that regard. Going up against the Benedetta, I think that if you go damage build on Banana, you're going to have a better time against the Lapu-Lapu because of the trading potential that you have. Just have to be careful not to get hit with by skill 1 and skill 2 of this Flapteasy Lapu-Lapu.
Yeah, and Brusco taking some heavy hits nice and early. Going to force him to recall back to the base. RRQ Hoshi starting to try and be a little bit more aggressive. May look a little bit more promising to game number 1 on the bot side. Banana very comfortable over here on this Benedetta, forcing Kyle Teasy to the bot side to stop him from taking down Flapteasy on the 1v1 engagement.
Gonna be Banana, just, you know. There's always that thing where you say that Banana is a one-trick kind of player, but man, every time you watch his Benedetta and the way that he plays it, you're always amazed. You can see even Flapteasy on the Yuzhong, or the Lapu-Lapu, I mean, is struggling against Banana's Benedetta.
Yeah, speaking of struggling, big terrifying the way. Brusco will be able to find one, takes on Ogwin. A little different of a start than we've seen in game number 1. This time, we're able to see RRQ Hoshi take the first kill as we do kind of pan over for a quick second. They are leading. That was first blood and now up by about 500 gold.
Yeah, good movements. Taking advantage of the Fredrin Minotaur wall that they can have, moving wall that they have with the Vexana from behind. It's like a war strategy from RRQ Hoshi where they're slowly sieging APBREN with these big boys in front line. And APBREN couldn't do anything about it. Even in this thorough take, you can see that it's difficult for them, and Octa is just outputting so much damage from behind. He's free to do it.
Yeah, a lot of damage. Irad will be able to claim that turtle. RRQ Hoshi, this is what we're talking about. This is the RRQ Hoshi we've seen in Group Stage A and in the quarterfinals. Now, leading the way in the early game, APBREN on the backside of things this time around. Now, I would say Banana definitely opening up a lot of opportunity. Running on the Benedetta, a comfort pick, a staple pick inside of his hands. It definitely makes the difference in the early phase of the game, and it's something that RRQ Hoshi is leaning on. Now, for APBREN, I mean, they're still looking pretty promising. We like the Brody pickup, right? It's really good up against the up-and-close and personal heroes. Even the Benedetta, if she decides to rush in, it could be a possible problem. But so far, RRQ Hoshi, with the slight lead, looks like they've been able to find their tempo since game 1.
Oh, yeah. And even Skylar is leading when it comes to the EXP going up against Super Marco, if I'm seeing this correctly. But there was a time where Skylar was level 5 and Super Marco was level 4. Super Marco had to go back to base, and this is looking really well for RRQ Hoshi. All of the lanes are going in their favor, and all of the core heroes from RRQ Hoshi are getting the farm over their designated matchup. So that's definitely a good sign. 3 minutes, 38 seconds to get the Feather of Heaven. Great timing for Skylar.
Yeah, and Super Marco going to go ahead and pick up that Blade of Heptaseas. So some great initial burst damage. Brusco trying to find an opportunity for the side of RRQ Hoshi. Looks like they're going to go in for a possible pick-off. Rushing straight in a few, but he may be able to make his way into that tier 2 turret. Irad thirsty for the kill, but not able to close the distance for the setup.
Irad with just the pokes. I mean, look at him having the freedom to do this because of Brusco's protection.
Yeah, big wild charge. Guardian's barrier.
Oh, wow.
Dropping down from Ogwin, trapping Brusco and Octa from escaping. It's a good thing APBREN did not decide to engage on that, because that was a good setup to kind of zone them away from escaping.
Great plays coming up from RRQ Hoshi. You can see that without the wild charge, APBREN might not be thinking about taking the turtle actually. Maybe they just go for pickups. But in comes the turtle fight.
Yeah, sitting at about 75% HP. Irad on it over here with the Fredrin, being a little bit of a bully, not afraid to take the fight up close and personal. Rushes into Ogwin for the setup. Teasy zoned out from Brusco. RRQ Hoshi, total control of the jungle and turtle pit so far, even extending into the purple buff, but Irad may be a little too close. They decide to engage. Big Manoa Fury, triple knockup onto APBREN. Brusco with the setup, forcing out the electrifying blow and the nether realm coming alive from Few, as both teams still fighting it out over this turtle. Neither side able to find the advantage they were looking for.
When Kyle is low and Irad is half HP but does have the sustain from the as a Fredrin, they're trying to buzz from this turtle. Who takes it though?
Ooh, it looks like Octa will get the steal for RRQ Hoshi. Brusco will fall though. Super Marco finding his first kill of the game. That will go into the hands of APBREN, but they lose the neutral objective. A 1,000 gold lead for RRQ Hoshi.
Irad. Okay.
Gonna rush in. Big wild charge for the knockup. Irad will be able to get out of there though. Very low on the HP. Electrifying blow going down from Banana through the Guardian's barrier provided over there from Ogwin, who has had some really good setups with it. I think his placement have been pretty valid so far in the early phase.
Yeah. I got a little bit scary for Irad almost going down, but fortunately he has the help of Octa with his Vexana. The position is just way too good for his Vexana. Octa is just providing so much defense for his team while also outputting the damage, right? So you cannot really just dive as APBREN. And if you're thinking about the composition of APBREN, they're mainly like, I would say melee based. Thinking about it, like Brody has it, without the ultimate, Brody's range is not that good. And that's why they need to go up close and personal as gets melted down Few. Just a fraction of a second too late with the Faramis ultimate.
Yeah, nice and early pickoff from the side play of the Bush in the mid lane. And now may be able to seize the opportunity to take this tier 2 turret. Skylar not wasting any time controlling this map for RRQ Hoshi. And so far, they're getting everything they have came for. APBREN is now the team that is reacting to RRQ Hoshi.
It's really good from RRQ Hoshi. This is the tempo that we're looking for. And like we said, like these 4 people, they will not leave each other. They will let Banana do the split for them. And both Octa as well as Skylars, they're going to be able to output the damage that they needed because of the 2 two bad dudes in the front line. That's Iran and Brusco. And I don't know if you know this already, but Brusco in Tagalog can also mean something like a like a big dude in the front line, like a brawn kind of dude. Like when you're Brusco, you're like a jacked kind of dude in the front lines.
Yeah, definitely showcasing it and living up to that name. There's a lot of things going on in the mid lane from both sides of the table. Bodies may drop here in a matter of seconds. You are seeing the Terrify go down. Octa able to find Flapteezy, unable to find his way back to his side of the jungle. One member down for the side of APBREN. 3 seconds until the Lord spawns in.
Oh man, they're nullifying the Lapu-Lapu by outputting so much damage. Look at Skylar. Good hit on the second skill, and now Flapteezy goes into the fray.
Yeah, he's going to rush in. Hit with the Terrified, though. Irad trying to get away. The wall will drop again from Ogwin. We talked about his placements on these Guardian barriers. Definitely not disappointing today. Brusco, very low, torn apart. Memories. Super Marco will find him, and Noah Fury goes down right before he falls. For the setup on APBREN, Irad will find the Lord. That is a big play for the side of RRQ Hoshi to continue their tempo. Super Marco takes down Banana to respond. 2 members falling for the side of RRQ Hoshi, but able to claim this Lord.
All due fairness, RRQ Hoshi's Lord Dance is great. They got the Lord after that. But APBREN, they're juggling. Their isolation moves are looking very neat. And that's the thing for RRQ Hoshi. The only reason for them to lose some of their members is that if somebody gets isolated. And it's exactly what happened with Brusco as well as Banana. Nevertheless, they still secured the Lord, which is much more important in this case. Like losing your roamer for the Lord is definitely a positive trait for you. And RRQ Hoshi can now take over the map once again.
Yeah, with that Lord marching down on the bot side, they may go in for some additional turrets. I mean, look at the top lane. Skylar, again, will take another tier 2 turret in their favor. Now leading 4 turrets to none against APBREN, and may claim some more in the mid lane as they are going to siege for that tier 1. It will fall into their hands. 3 major objectives, 2 turrets and a Lord over to their side so far. Even on the kills, though, but down in the economy by 4,000 gold behind APBREN.
Yeah. Looking really good for the Nathan as well for now. I mean, we haven't been talking about Skylar, but he is actually left in the kitchen for quite a long time now. 7.5k, 1,000 gold ahead of the Brody, and already up with 3 items. And by the way, Crystal and Stardom set with the Feather of Heaven, that's gonna hurt. If you see someone just stay in front of Nathan for 1 or 2 seconds, no matter who that is, that guy's gonna die. And the only saving grace here for APBREN is that they have the Faramis ultimate. Even Kyle, look at him, takes so much damage.
Ooh, big Minoan Fury as well for the knockup. The response back, though. Brusco very low. Entropy going out. Trying to get a possible kill. Skylar looking for the opportunity. Electo final blow. You will take down Banana before he's able to escape. That will be 2 members falling for the side. No, 1 member falling for the side of RRQ Hoshi. They still have the ground control, and they still want to take the fight. Irad will find Super Marco, finds the marksman for APBREN, and going in for this tier 2 turret. You're looking at Flapteezy, not trying to give it up without a fight. It will fall, though. Octa able to claim it for RRQ Hoshi.
Oh, did you see that juggle coming up from APBREN? Flapteezy activated the Bravest Fighter, hit on the 2 of their members, and looked like it's as if he will commit to the fight. But instead, he went back, and that actually attracted Banana to go in and get isolated again. He was taken out. However, RRQ Hoshi, with the farm that they have and the fact that they're grouping up, at least for the rest of their other members, they still were able to take out Super Marco, which is big, and they took an objective to go with it. So this is RRQ Hoshi not only controlling the tempo, but now having great plans whenever they're trying to go for plays. It's not anymore a mindless play that they're doing or a very reactionary kind of play that they're doing. This is actually a planned assault coming out from RRQ Hoshi.
And now, passing that 11-minute mark, you're looking at RRQ Hoshi having full control of this game so far. Hasn't lost a single turret in this game. And now, looking to take the next objective on the board. The contesto from APBREN. A little bit of a knockup. Flapteezy very low. Entropy going down. Skylar able to get it, but a wild charge from Ogwen into the backside. We'll get the knockup, but no bodies will fall. Minoan Fury from Brusco, triple set onto APBREN. Still fighting it out, Octa will find another. Down goes Kyle Teasy. Super Marco, though, in the fight. Skylar taking down Few. Super Marco and Ogwen by themselves. Few will get back in time, get the most out of the passage from this Theramis. Now you're looking at RRQ Hoshi, trying to seize the opportunity to crack open the base from APBREN.
For more, Skylar just destroys them. Irad gets the last hit, but you can see them. Skylar, though.
Yeah, very low. Can't get around that wall. Gets a kill, though. Irad will find Super Marco. 4 members falling. Looks like they're going in for the finish. RRQ Hoshi looking to turn this game around. Can they do it? The terrified, the knockup. Kyle Teasy sustaining himself through all this damage, trying to buy some time. Few will find Skylar. Gets a double. Takes out Banana. Minions are in play, but he will fall a full wipeout on APBREN. RRQ Hoshi trying to close it out. Ogwen just needs a few minutes to go through, not able to close the distance. And RRQ Hoshi flipping the script and turning this around, evens out the series against APBREN.
And just like we said before Game 1 started, the priority for RRQ Hoshi is to win their lane matchups, particularly in the side lanes. We saw that in this particular game with that Nathan going up against the Brody, you understand why it won. It's because of the range once again. And then eventually there was a gap between the gold laners where Skylar had a much better shot in the early stages of the game by getting much more farm compared to the Brody. Now we can see that in the bottom lane, that's also true with Flap Teasy versus Banana. Banana just froze the lane down the bottom just to become in front of Flap Teasy and then take advantage of the damage buildup onto Benedetta. Had it not been for APBREN's massive juggles, this game would have easily been in RRQ Hoshi's favor. But at the same time, RRQ Hoshi really woke up. And now Brusco actually is in a much more comfortable spot. You can see him go for those initiations wherein he will pop the first few ticks, the first 2 ticks of the ultimate in place, and then go for the flicker for nice timing on the APBREN. He times the flicker in the right moment so that he'll be able to catch APBREN at the edges of the circle of the Minoan Fury. And what you only need to have like the follow-up coming up from the Vexana to eventually take over the game. And that's really what Brusco has been able to bring to the table when he's given this kind of comfortable heroes. Surely the Kufra is a hero that was mastered already by Brusco, but it doesn't work in the meta. Now, you can see like Tigreal, heroes like Grok, as well as this Minotaur. This will be the priority for RRQ Hoshi. So I will not be surprised if there's an emphasis on the hack up Brusco strat again for APBREN next game.
Yeah, and I mean, the signature Banana split, right? Banana really
That's
good
also
at
true.
rotating around the
That's
map
also
on the
true.
Benedetta, and they let it walk. We talked about it earlier in the draft. We said, hey, majority of the time we're seeing the side of RRQ Hoshi win. Banana has this Benedetta. I'm convinced that the B in Benedetta stands for Banana, the way he's performing so far today. But yeah, he's creating those opportunities every single time to be able to get the neutral objectives and also free up Skylar to have a good time in his gold lane. And it allows RRQ Hoshi to kind of thrive in the early phase. And once they start, they don't stop, right? We've seen them pretty much continue to check off those blocks on their list for these objectives, which led to that 13-minute finish, a very early game. And now we're sitting at an even series, and there goes our MVP.
40% damage taken. He really put his role into heart, right? So we said that this composition, but they went in for the Frederick Western Mentor. The idea here is that you have backliners to support you, which in this case it is the Vexana as well as the Nathan. But I want to go back to the first few minutes of the game where you can really see what the strength of the Minotaur plus the Frederick can bring to the table, or what their strength really is, which is really just run down slow siege your opponents and allow Vexana to just really hit from the backends. If you're looking at APBREN, the only backline access that they have is Flap Teasy. Surely you can argue that with Kyle, Owen, and View, but they're generally heroes that want to go to damage the frontliners, so it's more of a front-to-back composition for APBREN. Despite the dive and the the gap closers that they have, this is generally a lineup where you want to go front to back. And RQ Hoshi took advantage of that. They have a much better front to back composition compared to APBREN, and you can see them abuse that factor, especially the early stages of the game where they just literally stopped Ogwen as well as View from rotating to their own teammates, which now made it so that the side lanes, the natural advantage that you have for the side laners of RQ to flourish. That's exactly what happened in the early stages. And the good thing about RQ Hoshi in this game is that they didn't let go of the pressure, right? So every time that they try to team fight around the neutral objectives, they take that, they don't let go of that. Even when they lose some of their members, that's all right. Then they allow the banana to go for the macro plays. Or overall, RQ Hoshi, well thought draft.
Yeah, definitely a well-thought draft and some excellent execution on top of that. Made for a game winner to even out this series up against APBREN. And now, with them being 1-1, me and you kind of expected, right? Game 2 to be a little bit closer. That's the RQ Hoshi that we've been seeing so far in Game of Futures 2024 that everybody has been talking about. I'm sure out in Indonesia, the crowd is going wild. The Philippines, same thing as well. APBREN, their final stand inside of Game of Futures 2024. The world champions from M5. Both of them fighting it out. The Philippines up against Indonesia. This is one of the best matches I like to kind of catch and cast. You learn so much from seeing both of these teams fight together against each other. But there can only be one person claiming victory, and they are currently both sitting with one win, which means the next team to win will knock out the other side.
And I'm sure that all of the Filipino fans out there have been shaken, because if you think about it, even when Bren is looking real good in the group stages in the first part of the playoffs yesterday, they are still literally one loss away from losing all of the Filipino teams' claim to the throne, right? So they're the last team standing for the Philippines, and they're literally one loss away from not having the chance to defend their world championship, right? So that's gonna be nerve-wracking for sure. And this really makes up for a very interesting format where it's a best of 3 in a single elimination. The games are literally every single game matters so much, and it's just very scary to think about that way. Like after winning so much, APBREN literally just one loss away from getting out of the tournament.
Yeah, just one loss away. And, you know, first off, that's the first loss that APBREN has taken in Game of Futures 2024. They've been undefeated so far. And that just shows you how strong of a region Indonesia is as well, to be able to take one away from them and put them in a position where they have to win this one or they're done. Second thing I want to mention is, can we give some credit to Wolf on the freaking analyst points on the draft? The man was hitting everyone left and right. Man, I'm telling you, this man is from the future. It's a pleasure casting with you. I mentioned watching international teams such as Indonesia and the Philippines, but also being able to, cast alongside you, somebody who's been here since the beginning of the MLBB scene. I'm definitely got my notebook out, taking notes every step of the way as we're going through these drafts, and it's not been disappointing so far. I love seeing a series that goes to a best of 3 all the way to a game 3, and that's what we have today now. With both of these teams, everything on the line, I think APBREN, they'll have a better chance if they find a way to make Banana uncomfortable. Maybe stop the Benedetta from coming out, because usually when the Benedetta's there, that's where they profit the most.
Yeah, I think that they will now have a little bit more priority towards their side lanes when it comes to drafting. So maybe this time they will let RRQ Hoshi pick up the side lanes first before they reveal theirs, because that's literally what happened in game number 1. You can see that the first pick there was if I'm not mistaken, Layla. So they answered the Layla with the Clint. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that the EXP and the gold lane choices for RQ Hoshi were picked first, and then Bren Esports countered those picks in the later stage, right? So it was Clint versus Layla, and it was CC counter or answered by Lap. What did Flap DC play in game number 1? You see, this is my memory.
I gotta go back.
But that's not the point, right? At least win the side lanes. Now, in game number 2, it was clear that RQ Hoshi now gave the tempo to APBREN when it comes to drafting all of the side laners, and then they countered afterwards. So it was...
Paquito, by the way, just to let you know.
Paquito, there it is. Right, so
Yes,
at
game
least you
2
don't
is finished.
necessarily
Jadi
win the matchup of CC versus Pakiro, but if you play
RRQ
correctly, it's a
wins
matchup
satu.
anyway, so
Jadi
it's
let's go.
but
Abis
when it
ini
comes to the game number
kita
2,
menuju
Nathan,
game
after
ketiga.
getting
Jadi terima kasih
level
sudah
2,
menonton. Thank you for
will
watching.
definitely win against the Brody in the
Don't forget
poke
to
battle.
like,
So you
comment,
saw that
subscribe
in the
this channel.
1v1, Skylar
to
going
see
up
more
against going up
video
against
content.
Super Marco. Super Marco
Yay.
lost game number 2 just because of the fact that the first pick was the Brody, or the earlier
Eh, sambil dulu ya abis
was
ini.
countered by
Kita ini
the late matchup later. And then on the
Stop
other side
streaming
was
again.
definitely that Benedetta specialty pick.
Terima kasih
obviously
sudah
coming from
menonton.
RRQ. Banana adjusted.
Let's
She
go,
didn't go
game
for the
ketiga.
sustain.